right, good morning, folks.
All right, good morning, folks.
Normally I am a very informal individual. Some of you know quite well.
So we're gonna wait a couple more minutes, see if the last few folks come in.
But
you all have been so amazing.
You showed up on time.
You showed up on time.
You're in your seat.
It's wonderful.
And I'm thinking.
Normally we're over in.
We're over on
West campus. I can get the directions correct. I promise. We're normally on West campus, and we're all lining up, and then we process in, announce your names, and there's much fanfare, and faculty are cheering you on, and your families are cheering you on. But today we'll be live streaming. Hopefully you've passed the website onto your family, your friends, so that they can watch and participate from afar. Right? How are we doing on time?
I am also a fan of being
prompt, which doesn't work in Zoom rooms. Like I have to give that big pause. 2 minutes. Oh my God. Psychology professor, not a comedian. Very hard to ad lib, folks. It's really not though, because I'll talk forever, and you know that. I'm looking at some of the folks here. I've heard senior week is going well. Did you go to Grizzlies last night? So okay, some of you are saying enthusiastically yes. Did the Grizzlies pull it out against the Sacramento Kings? Yeah? Was it a big win? It was a sizable win. So they kept you on the edge of your seat. Like it was worth the money. Okay. Was this anyone's first Grizzlies game? Okay, nice. Was it everything you needed it to be before you left Memphis? Like say again? Fair enough. I am not a pro basketball fan, admittedly. I've been to one Grizzlies game. It was against the Lakers. Enough said. But I'm looking forward to maybe bringing myself and my family to more soccer games now that we've got the 901 team here. So I love the enthusiastic head nods out here. Some of you are like, not so much. But I hear we're feeding you well. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. All right. There's the Halliburton bell. Hallelujah. All right, y'all. Let's make this happen today. We'll go ahead and get rolling. As folks come in, welcome them in with open arms. Very socially distanced, but open arms. I'll just start by saying thank you for joining us today for our induction ceremony. My name's Jeff Maddox, and I teach in the psychology department here at Rhodes, and I stand before you now in my role as president of our chapter of the Phi Beta Kappa Society. For almost 250 years, the purpose of the Phi Beta Kappa Society has been to champion the liberal arts. Its members have proven their scholarly merit according to the highest standards of college discipline. The strength of the society derives from the fact that its chapters are maintained at only the finest colleges and universities in the country, and election to membership is a privilege extended only to the most accomplished and most liberally educated graduates. We are assembled for the purpose of receiving into the membership of our society certain persons who, having been duly elected by this chapter, desire to be admitted to its privileges and opportunities. As we continue to navigate the pandemic's far-reaching consequences, we embrace an approach to this year's induction that champions the health and well-being of the larger community. With this in mind, many individuals who typically join us in induction are unable to attend this year. So to our members in residence, our alumni, our trusted friends, and our special guests who are joining us virtually this year, we miss you and can't wait to be together in person soon. To our candidates, I've had the honor of teaching many of you in my classes, and I've heard wonderful things about all of you from our faculty who have served as your advisors and intellectual mentors. We are so pleased that all of you have been accepted and have accepted our invitation to join the Phi Beta Kappa Society. At this time, I'm going to invite Dr. Miriam Clinton from the executive committee of our chapter to share with us a brief historical statement about the society.
Mine also comes with props. On December 5th, 1776, a group of students from the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, founded the Society of Phi Beta Kappa as a philosophical and debating society. They held their first meeting in the Apollo Room of the Raleigh Tavern, where they dedicated the society to the ideals of knowledge and intellectual integrity, as well as the kind of scholarly exchange that most fruitfully takes place over a glass of ale. These ideals have continued to distinguish the Society of Phi Beta Kappa for over 240 years. Initially, the society was only open to men. In 1875, however, membership was extended to women. Founded in the midst of the American Revolution, the society was nearly put out of business in 1781 when the approach of the British Army forced the closure of the College of William and Mary. However, by that time, the idea of an academic honor society had spread to 2 other universities, and new chapters of the society had been established at Yale in 1780 and at Harvard in 1781. These chapters survived the war and ensured that the Society of Phi Beta Kappa would continue. The traditions of Phi Beta Kappa can all be traced to the practices of these first 3 chapters, which, until the 1830s, required their members to swear oaths of secrecy. Our society is no longer secret, yet it has retained a tradition of symbolic emblems to identify members to each other. As an outward sign of their membership in this community, the original chapters adopted a device which has evolved into the Phi Beta Kappa key. The key had its origins in a square medal worn by the members of the William and Mary chapter. Later, a lower stem was added by the branch at Yale, which enabled the medal to be used to wind a gentleman's pocket watch, hence the reference to this device as a key today, and its tradition of being worn at the end of a watch chain. The symbols on the modern key are the same as those on the original medal. On the front, the medal bears the Greek letters Phi Beta Kappa, the initials of the words Philosophia Biu Kubernetes. Love of wisdom is the guide of life. In the upper left corner, 3 stars symbolize the aims of the society: friendship, morality, and learning. A pointing hand in a lower corner symbolizes aspiration. On the reverse is engraved the historic date, December 5th, 1776, and above it, the name of the member is inscribed. Today, the wearers of this key are members of a society which has grown beyond its beginnings in many ways. No longer a campus club for debating and discussion, Phi Beta Kappa champions the liberal arts through its many publications, nationally recognized awards, endowed fellowships, and lectures. At present, there are 290 chapters, including this one, the Gamma Chapter of Tennessee, which was established on December 5th, 1949, through the tireless advocacy of former President Peyton Nall Rhodes. This intentionally small number is a reflection of the Society's intention to honor the very best in scholarship at the very best of the country's colleges and universities. Each year, fewer than 1 out of every 100 college graduates in the United States is invited to membership in Phi Beta Kappa. Your opportunities to be a part of Phi Beta Kappa extend beyond Rhodes. In addition to chapters like this one, which some of you will join someday as members of college communities, there also exist approximately 50 Phi Beta Kappa associations throughout the country. These consist of members who are not affiliated with academic chapters, but who wish to continue their involvement in the Society's activities. Your membership in Phi Beta Kappa joins you to an organization that uniquely insists on the importance of the liberal arts for the maintenance of a free society, an organization that is devoted to creating universal access to this kind of close learning. Because of this network of chapters and associations, you will have plenty of opportunities to become an active member of Phi Beta Kappa, and we hope you will choose to take them up. No doubt, many of you have already withstood rounds of questions about the wisdom of a liberal arts education in challenging economic times. The fact that you and your families are here today, at least virtually, implies that you understand how emancipatory this kind of study can be. We hope that throughout your lives, you will continue to advocate for the liberal arts and the kind of close learning that is needed now more than ever.
Thank you, Dr. Clinton. I'm going to ask the candidates to please rise for a brief moment, and I'm going to administer the oath of membership. So in accordance with the rules of this chapter, and in consequence of our good opinion of your intellectual and moral character, supported by your record of high achievement in the college, you've been selected as worthy of becoming members of Phi Beta Kappa. Your records have been submitted to the scrutiny of the constitutional electors of our chapter and have met with their approval. You have been formally notified of your election, and by your presence here, you signify your desire to be enrolled as members of this honorable society. By the rules of this chapter, each initiate must pledge allegiance to the society and sign his or her name in the roll book. I've been instructed to administer your oath. Do you solemnly promise that you will be true and faithful to this society, that you will obey the laws thereof, and that in the election of members you will have paramount regard for moral character and scholarly attainment? If you agree, please respond, I do so promise. Wonderful. So go ahead and be seated. You'll now be invited to come forward and sign the roll book and receive your certificate of membership. And so Professor Clinton will give you instructions on how this will operate, and we'll get going.
So we're going to proceed by rows to continue to allow for social distancing and so that we don't block anybody's view at home. So please wait to stand until the final initiate from the previous row has come to the cement up here. When your row rises, please move towards your left, and the first person will come about 6 feet away from Professor Maddox. The rest of you will try to stay about 6 feet apart and wrap around the side. Understand? Okay. All right, will the first row of initiates please stand and move to your left? As your name is called, please come to the stage to sign the roll, which is located on the table, and receive your certificate, which will also be placed on the table next to it. When you have finished, please return directly to your seat and sit down. Alexa Casanova Alana. You can go back to your Yavin Alwis in absentia. Benjamin Aquila in absentia. Mary Ashley Austria in absentia. Matthew James Broussard in absentia. Catherine Ann Clark in absentia. Samuel Davis Cloyd in absentia. Olivia Doty in absentia. Ashley Ann Forret in absentia. Jessica K. Frankel in absentia. Benjamin Haas Freeman in absentia. William Toller Freyaldenhoven in absentia. Katie Gaffney. Jenna Gilly in absentia. Elliot James Gorski in absentia. Aubrey Gray. Chandler Hall. Francesca Healy in absentia. Ranin Imam in absentia. Anurada Iyer in absentia. Quinn Elizabeth Kendall in absentia. Fu Thin Kine in absentia. Carter Scott King in absentia. Savannah King. Catherine Kirkpatrick in absentia, Nicholas Konstantin Kokoropoulos in absentia, Emily Korba in absentia, Savannah Kurtz, Nicholas Langford in absentia, Kinsey McGlasson in absentia, Simon Augustus McSweeney in absentia, John Harold Medic in absentia, Elise Graham Moix in absentia, Margot Christina Mose, the second row can rise as well. Anna Murphy, Caitlin Renna in absentia, Bilal Sohail Siddiq in absentia, Kishan Girish Sinojia in absentia, Ramiz Samji in absentia, Jared Shea Stover in absentia, Trevor Terrell Van Vliet, Hiba Ijaz Verk in absentia, David Mitchell Weatherford in absentia, Audrey Woody in absentia, J. Hugh Wright III in absentia, Benjamin Yaffe. Lin Hao Zhang in absentia. Congratulations to the Phi Beta Kappa inductees of the class of 2020. And welcome to the class of 2021, Lydia Booth. Libby Owen Bridges. Carolyn E. Bruce in absentia. Brady Richards Chrysler. Megan C. Cruz in absentia. Anne Griffith Cunningham. Taylor Renee Duncan. Caroline Finney Farrell. Grace Files. Helen Marie Files. The next row can stand and move to the side. Jacqueline Claire Flood. Tara Fredenberg. Finn Giddings in absentia. Ashby Chandler Glover. Emma Hauk. Thomas Byron Hayden III. Grant Allen Hill. Duck Huang. Juliana C. Hofheinz. Marissa Hudspeth in absentia. Catherine Rose Hutchison. Patricia Michelle Jones. Sam Justice. Lauren King. Emma Cruzy. David Griffin Laird in absentia. Natalie Elizabeth Manoogian in absentia. Noah B. Messa in absentia. Abigail Caitlin Morisi. Liba Adnan Nasir. Anna Walker Nottingham. Madison Peticolas. Aidan Phelan. Kristen Brooke Reed. Sarah Scherer. Meredith Eloise Scholl. Shelby Nicole Cease in absentia. Eric Yushin Shi. Nathaniel Manley Seiler in absentia. Lily Smith. Luke Matthias Staffelbach. Alana Strauss. William Ryan Sullivan. Athena Tiwari. Brandon Reese Waddell. Kevin Wang. Adam Cole Wyatt. Madison Zickgraf. Congratulations to the Phi Beta Kappa class of 2021.
Initiates, please rise. By election of the chapter and by your assent to its pledge and the placing of your signatures in its book, the Society's requirements for initiation are fully satisfied. I therefore, in the presence of these members and guests, virtually and in person, declare you members of the Gamma chapter of Phi Beta Kappa in the state of Tennessee, authorized to wear its key as a badge and to participate in its meetings. It's my pleasure to welcome you as members of our chapter, and I invite our guests and the members of the chapter here and at home to join me now in welcoming you. Thanks so much. I'm sorry it was not a hearty welcome, but you're so welcome. We're so enthusiastic to have you join us, so thank you so much. You can be seated now. In addition to this year's initiates from the class of 2020 and 2021, I have the special honor of recognizing the first alumni inductee during my 8 years here at Rhodes College. I'm happy to welcome Lucille Hamer Amos into the membership of Phi Beta Kappa. With respect to the requirements for membership in our society, Ms. Amos was highly ranked in her graduating class, served as Honor Society Vice President during her senior year, and was instrumental in helping bring Phi Beta Kappa to Southwestern. Indeed, the Gamma chapter of Phi Beta Kappa was established at the college in 1949, the year following Lucille's graduation. More broadly, Ms. Amos majored in music and was involved in a number of organizations. In addition to serving as vice president of the college's Honor Society, she served as president of Chi Omega sorority and was runner-up in the Maid of Cotton contest. While at Southwestern, Ms. Amos met her future husband, Bob Amos, and together they were the president and secretary of their senior class. After graduating in 1948, Ms. Amos has embraced lifelong learning in numerous ways. She's volunteered at the University of Minnesota International Center, where she taught ESL. She was very active at the Minneapolis Institute of Art, serving for a time as the president of the Friends of the Institute, and was on the board of the Stevens Square Nursing Home for many years. In speaking with Ms. Amos, one of the highlights of her adult life was living in Luxembourg for a few years, where she taught the locals to speak French with a Southern accent. In her spare time, Ms. Amos has enjoyed tennis, skiing, backpacking, gardening, and playing bridge. And I know she fully enjoys the time she's able to spend with her friends and her family. So for her commitment to academic excellence as an undergraduate, her efforts to bring Phi Beta Kappa to Southwestern, and the multitude of ways she's pursued lifelong learning following graduation, and for her commitment to the liberal arts, I'm so excited to welcome Lucille Hamer Amos into our membership. Because I know she's joining us from home, I really do want to give you a big hearty wave and tell you that we're so excited to be sending you your certificate in the mail soon, and we are so happy for you to have joined our membership. So thank you so much for everything you've done to bring Phi Beta Kappa to Southwestern and Rhodes. So I'm going to ask that you give another round of applause for Lucille, please. Thank you. Following initiation, following signing of the roll book, we invite a member of the Phi Beta Kappa community here at Rhodes to offer a scholarly reflection or a recitation or a musical performance. And this year we are fortunate that member and resident, President Marjorie Haas, has accepted our invitation. So at this time I'd like to welcome the 20th president of Rhodes College, Marjorie Haas, to the podium to deliver her remarks. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to you all. The good news is I will not be offering a musical performance, so you can rest easy. Offering a philosophical reflection is a pleasure for me because I am, by training and vocation, a philosopher. And I note as well that Phi Beta Kappa has philosophia, love of wisdom, as its first word. So I feel right at home as a philosopher, as a fellow Phi Beta Kappa member, and as your president. Jeff asked me if I would talk a little bit about my own scholarly work and my work as a philosopher. And I thought what I would do is read to you from something that I wrote recently that is not directed at professional philosophers, but really is designed to bring a little bit of philosophizing into the hearts and minds of any reader, and that I thought might be particularly appropriate as you prepare to move from Rhodes College to the next phase of your life and your success. So this piece was inspired by a friend of mine. She's a scholar and a fellow college president. She's a president of Middlebury College and a dear friend of mine, Lori Patton. She's a poet as well, and she told me once that she has a long-established habit of asking her students the following question: what is your one true question? And when she told me that, I found myself really reflecting on that and thinking about it and wondering what she meant by it and turning it over in my mind. And I came to realize that I think what she's after, at least the piece of it that makes sense to me, is an attempt to really find a place of your own individual, personal, deepest curiosity. That question that comes up for you over and over again, never reaching a definitive conclusion, endlessly fascinating. In the ensuing year or so since Lori and I discussed this, I've asked a lot of people to reflect on this, and I've heard a lot of answers. It might be, am I loved? What are the guiding laws of nature? Who am I? What does God want from me? How should I live? To whom do I owe my deepest allegiance? How do I, it might be the question that you read Ta-Nehisi Coates ask in Between the World and Me. In that book, he says the question that has animated his life is, how do I live free in this black body, in this world? When we look to discover our own questions, I think what we're looking for is a core dissatisfaction that animates our thinking and drives us intellectually, emotionally, spiritually. The matter of this deep question is very personal. As you hear me talk about this, you might think immediately you know the answer. Your true question becomes very visible to you, and you see it at work in your life, and you're familiar with its pull. Others of you may struggle to find a question or wonder if you really have one. I think you do, but you might need to quiet your mind and let the quest for the question take root for a bit. Mull it over. Talk about it with someone who loves you and knows you well. Making my question visible to myself required looking backwards at the intersection point of my academic work, my childhood worries and hopes, and my psychological, philosophical, and ethical preoccupations. When I did that, I saw that over and over again, I was drawn to language and driven to understand its ability to both create and occlude meaning. My own true question has to do with the way language works, its connection to thought, healing, knowing, intimacy, revelation, shame, and self-understanding. My question is this: what is the power and the limit of language? The relentlessness of this question has been with me for as long as I can remember. It was there in the multiple made-up imaginary languages of my childhood play. It was there again as I struggled to understand the mystery of my parents' work as psychoanalysts and their mastery of the so-called talking cure. An early and voracious reader, I opted to major in philosophy, where I focused on language and meaning as objects in themselves, abstracted from specific narratives or contexts. My children know how deeply I believe that putting things into words is hard but valuable work. They know I lose sleep wondering how our non-linguistic dog understands her world. They've seen firsthand that the marriage I made with their father is one long conversation. They know I cry whenever language fails to meet the challenge of the beauty, horror, or intensity of what we see. My religious experiences, too, have been grounded in this ultimate question. I've always been much more interested in the question of God's language than the question of whether or not God exists. To me, the holiest space, the space where God greets us, is at the border of words and wordlessness. In my current professional work, I use words to lead change and make community, marveling always at language's power and limits. In my political and philanthropic commitments, I focus on expanding the circle of those whose voices matter and who have the power to create and share meanings. Alain Badiou, the theorist, describes the intensity of these kinds of individual questions as a wound or a thorn in the very experience of existence. And I think there's likely truth here. The ordinary traumas of loss, grief, anger, and desire that are inherent in human development does leave each of us, I believe, with our own idiom of yearning. And of course, many among us live through traumas of more significant and destabilizing kinds. But the language of wound isn't enough. Whatever its origin, the gap or opening that your question reveals is also an invitation, a wellspring for creative imagination, and a promise of infinite possibility and beauty. Speaking your question out loud, even if only to yourself, matters. In giving it voice, you see the ways disparate pieces of your life connect, and you find an inner integrity to your varied passions and pursuits. You might find new paths to follow. You might find things you can release because their response is really to somebody else's question and not to your own. Our questions differ depending on our origins, our context, our style. They're shaped by the happenstances of the time and place into which we are thrown at birth, as Heidegger would say. But they share a common ontological structure. In their archaic origins, they're grounding in our earliest memories and our fundamental sense of what matters. And in their ultimate unanswerability, they point us towards the unfathomable mystery of existence itself. They're a window into the mystery that draws us out of ourselves and towards an infinite reservoir of wonder and longing. Like you, I did not choose my question. But in letting it choose me, my life gained broader purpose. And today, I offer you the invitation to find your one true question, the one that animates your soul. How are you called to respond to its insistent? How does your question give direction to your work and your life, to your spirit, to your responsibility to help heal a broken world? When you take up your question with conscious intent, you will shine brighter and with increased heat. You'll find the root of your inner creativity. You'll become more of yourself. You will come home to the life's work that is yours alone. There is nothing more glorious that I could wish you in this moment of transitions. I wish you a hearty mazel tov and much love on your commencement and on your induction into Phi Beta Kappa. Thank you for inviting me to join you today.
Thank you for those thought-provoking words. Like, just to be able to take that away and reflect and let those questions bubble up and let that one true question identify or kind of wake us up to it. Thank you so much. I will echo President Haas's sentiment. A philosopher is always a welcomed friend in the room. Before we adjourn, friends, I want to express my sincerest gratitude for the past president of our chapter, Professor of International Studies, Jin Shuba. Professor Shuba's work and interests are centered on understanding the impact of societal-level population changes on international and domestic policies, economics, and social relations. As a scholar, I'm deeply impressed by the depth of Jin's intellectual prowess. And importantly, I envy the ways in which she translates her research to be relevant and accessible to wide audiences that extend far beyond the academy. As a member of Phi Beta Kappa, I'm thankful to have followed in the footsteps of such an organized and committed leader. Although Professor Shuba was unable to join us today due to COVID-related restrictions, I look forward to expressing my appreciation and sharing a token of thanks with her in person in the near future. As our induction ceremony comes to a close, I want to emphasize our chapter's eagerness to keep in touch with you. You'll be hearing regular updates from our chapter in the years to come, and you're always welcome at our events, including this annual induction. This is true of any chapter across the United States. No matter where you find yourselves, there will be Phi Beta Kappa groups keen to welcome you. Although we will not hold our annual luncheon this year, we would like to celebrate and hold community with you in ways that are safe and responsible to the extent possible. And so after we adjourn momentarily, we invite you to pick up a small prepackaged either charcuterie or cheese plate up on the deck here, and some local Dinstall's chocolate. And to the extent that you're comfortable, I'd love to chat with you afterwards. So with that being said, congratulations again. Thank you for coming, and we'll call it adjourned for today. Oh my goodness, I need you all to sit still for like 30 more seconds. This is like just an error on my part. Every year, we normally will huddle close together in ways that are unacceptable at the moment at the Deal statue for a Phi Beta Kappa picture of the inducted groups. What we will do is we will hop up on the stage and take a picture of you in true 2021 socially distanced form, and then we will eat and be merry, I hope. Yep, perfect. Miriam, do you have...
One mic can turn off the video.
Oh my goodness, these gals. All right, thanks y'all. Come up and get some food. There's plenty of it, please. Take it, eat it. I know you've got food trucks, but come on.